Hey there, welcome to our training session. Yes, in today's video I want to share with you 4 puzzles. Yes, puzzles that come from the Caro-Kann, from the 2 nights variation of the Caro-Kann. Yeah, and the idea is to practice your decision making on an opening that we are learning and that probably you are already playing in your games. So this is ideal if you solve puzzles related to your openings. And without further ado, let's jump right into the first position. Yeah, this is the first position. It's a position taken from a very famous game from Mikhail Tal. Yeah, a game he played against Lajos Portis in 1965 in their match in the candidate cycle for the World Championship. Yeah, this position is wide to play, and yeah, I invite you to stop the video and think about candidate moves and decide what is the best way to continue, in your opinion. Well, here our bishop pair is a guarantee for long-term pressure, but in reality black's king is still in the center of the board is something we may want to use to gain an advantage. Well, then that's what Mikhail Tal did. Yeah, it's interesting to know what were your candidate moves. Feel free to write them in the comment section below. I will always start with forced moves like rook takes e6. Then I will realize it doesn't work. Then c4 might be an interesting idea, trying to play d5. And then if those moves aren't working, I will try to probably improve my king and enable h4, h5, and queen h5. Yeah, this one is putting pressure on e6 and on f7. Well, those are my candidate moves. What about yours? What did you discover? Well, Tal decided to play c4, and yeah, he won the game, but c4 turned out to be dubious. Well, the thing is that in this position we are clearly better with white. We have already our king in safety, we have the bishop pair, we can develop some initiative, and it's not hard to guess that we're better. So taking that into account, playing c4 is a bad idea. After knight b4 played by Lajos Portis, Tal sacrificed playing rook takes e6, f takes e6, queen takes e6, and now all 3 candidate moves are okay for black. I mean bishop e7, king f8, and finally king d8. All 3 are okay and lead to equality. But the simplest would be king d8 that forces draw by repetition after queen d6, king e8, queen e6, and so on and so forth. Well, in the game, Portis played king f8 and bishop f4, rook d8 was also okay and led to an balanced position, but a very complex one that Tal ended up winning. Taking into account that king d8 could have led to a draw right away, we have to look for another idea, as we don't want to spoil our advantage. Yeah, Tal explained afterwards that his move was dubious, but he had an idea, pre-match idea. He thought that Portis was very good maneuvering and he wasn't as good on complication, on tactical skirmishes. So that led him to play in this way. Okay, as we are not playing the opponent, we have to look for the strongest move, and the strongest move is queen h5. Yes, we are threatening rook takes e6, and yeah, it's pretty hard to deal with it. g6 is the most normal move, and now queen f3. And that's the idea. Yeah, we're putting pressure on f6. We already created this small weakness, and it seems it's nothing, as black can play bishop g7, and it seems black is doing fine after short castle. But here white has a very nice idea, and I'm talking about h4. Yes, h4 tries to play h5 using the force of the unopposed bishop. Yeah, having the bishop pair is an important thing, and the unopposed bishop is the bishop that is not opposed by any bishop. Yeah, the dark squared bishop is opposed by this dark square bishop, but the bishop on d3 and battles against the knight and is supposed to be superior. Yeah, bringing, by keeping the bishops together, we can hope for a long-term pressure. Okay, now after castle, h5, and yes, we have an interesting pressure. Sometimes we are opening, playing g3, king g2, but sometimes we are also playing h6, forcing the bishop to h8, and the pawn on h6 restricts black's mobility and is an important asset. I'm sharing videos twice a week about chess improvement, chess ideas, openings, endings, every kind of chess related stuff. And if you are a chess improver, this material will definitely help you. So consider subscribing. That's the best way you can support the channel. Thank you. Well, against bishop g7, h4, black can try to avoid the further advance by playing h5, or they can play h6. Yes, and after h6 we reach the first tactical puzzle. What would you play as white? Yeah, feel free to stop the video and look for the strongest continuation. Yeah, you have it right. Bishop takes g6 is the way to get our rook on e6 and attack black's king. The pawn on h7 was defending g6, and after playing h6, bishop takes g6 is possible. Yeah, the game may continue. F takes g6, rook takes e6, knight e7. Yeah, instead king d7 is losing right away to queen f7, and king d8 might be answered by rook d6, an interesting move, with the idea of bringing the king back to the center, and after bishop f4 and rook e1, black's position is disastrous, as the king is going to fall for a strong attack. Yeah, g6 is pretty weak. Our queen is also coming and capturing, and the position is horrible for black. So after knight e7, we have several ways to proceed. d5 is an interesting way. Yeah, as the knight is pinned to the king and the c pawn is pinned to the queen. So we're threatening d6. This can be strong enough to win, but also queen e4, putting pressure on e7 and on g6. Queen d8, bishop f4, and we are tripling on the e file. After short castle, rook takes e7, we recover the material, as rook takes f4 is simply answered by rook takes d7, check, king takes d7, and queen takes f4 with a couple of extra pawns and a winning position. Yes, so bishop g6 decides the game. Okay, let's continue with the third puzzle. Yeah, the position is a little bit different, nothing to do with h4. But now we have a typical position in which black's king castle on the king side. What to play? What would you do? Well, the move is bishop h6. Yes, the thing is that g6 simply loses exchange. And after bishop f6, we have a very strong move. Queen e4. Yeah, threatening checkmate and forcing g6. And after bishop takes f8, we have the exchange advantage again. Yeah, given the pawn is also possible but losing, as rook e8 is answered by queen takes h7, king f8, and bishop d2, intending to play c4, bishop b4, rook e1, and black's position is a disaster. This is the last exercise of our training session, and yeah, okay, why to play? Feel free to stop the video and try to find the strongest idea. Well, the move is bishop takes d5. Now, rook takes d5 is forced, as e takes d5 is simply answered by rook e7, attacking the queen, attacking the pawn on f7, and deciding the game. So after rook takes d5, everything seems to be normal for black, but appearances are deceiving, and we are completely winning after queen takes d5. Brilliant sacrifice. E takes d5, rook e8, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, forcing bishop f8, and the typical pattern, bishop h6. But yeah, black seems to be able to defend with queen d6 or with queen e7, yeah, returning the queen in both cases. But the thing is that after rook takes f8, queen takes f8, bishop takes f8, king takes f8, d takes e5, we land into a winning pawn ending. We're simply bringing our king to d4 and playing b4 on the right moment, and we have an extra pawn. It's a very instructive one, as one of the ideas of having the bishop pair is that you keep the bishop pair for as long as it is convenient for you, and you are able to trade it in the moment that you prefer. Yeah, and here we trade the unopposed bishop for the knight to win the game. Bishop takes d5, rook takes d5, queen takes d5, e takes d5, rook e8, and of course in case of bishop f8, rook takes a8, and we're winning. We're bringing the rook, and yeah, there's nothing black can do to survive in here. Yeah, it's interesting even to see king g7 trying to answer rook e8 with bishop d6, but we have the strong, if you wish you can pause the video again, but we have the strong rook takes f8, king takes f8, bishop h6, king g8, and rook e8, checkmate. And again, we win the game. This training session has a few takeaways. Yeah, first of all, not all that glitters is gold. I mean, Mikhail Tal's game was fantastic. We admire him and love him, but this is not applicable to our game, so we need to find another way to keep the pressure. Yeah, first this is the one we have to mention. Yeah, the other thing is that once you find a strong positional idea, like queen h5, g6, queen f3, followed by h4, h5, your following moves are going to be easier. Yeah, so improving your positional understanding and decision making is something that will help you improving your results. The last but not the least, that solving tactical or positional puzzles related to your opening repertoire is something very useful that will help you improving your understanding and your playing skills of certain openings or of certain typical middle games that come from your openings. Okay, so I hope you had a fantastic training session and you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your attention and see you next time.